Hey guys, Moose here, back with another episode of Stonehearth in our Ascendancy playthrough, and it is February 18th. And there's a few different ones here that popped up. None of them are that interesting, to be honest, but one of them is a little bit strange, and that's the one that I'd like to talk about, because had no idea this had happened. This is totally foreign to me. Apparently, on this date in 2014, Wikipedia says that Irrational Games, the creator of BioShock series, was shut down. But that I don't believe is actually true, because BioShock Infinite came out after that, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't buy that. I think what actually happened was that was when some serious restructuring happened, and it didn't get shut down, but basically they restructured to create a smaller studio. And the other thing is, from what I can see, it doesn't look like they directly, I mean, it was a little bit, I don't know. The Wikipedia article for this reads like it's talking about shell companies and shit, and it's very strange. Like, 2K had, like, someone, I think they bought Irrational, or someone bought Irrational, and then 2K bought them. And it's this whole weird mess of different owners and things, and then, like, after being purchased, they split off, like, 3 or 4 different satellite studios or something, and it's really bizarre. I don't really understand what the hell is going on. One's in, like, Australia. One is in Southern California. It's very strange. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah, one's in Boston as well. And they're saying, oh, this qualifies as Irrational Games, but it's like, I don't know. It's very strange. They're like 2K and then location. And there's a whole bunch of different, like, basically what look like shell companies that basically like that, and I'm not really sure what to make of it, but apparently they worked on all 3? No, just 2, BioShock and BioShock Infinite, not BioShock 2, which I guess maybe was someone else. I'm not really that familiar with what happened with that series after I played BioShock and I played BioShock Infinite. I also played System Shock 2. I actually have that on Steam, because it's a really damn good game. I haven't beaten it, but I played it a bit. A little bit of a precursor to Deus Ex, I think. That's how I see it. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's, you know, my perception of it. Very cool game, lots of complexity, lots of choice. I very much appreciate that in a game, so that was a cool game, and I picked it up basically saying, like, I'm probably not going to play this and beat it because I missed the boat, but I respect the hell out of this game. It's fantastic, and given an infinite amount of time, this would be one of my first few 100 choices of things to do. Obviously, with an infinite amount of time, you'd eventually do anything. But in this case, it'd be one of that. That's kind of what I'm trying to say, is I do it quickly, or I do it early on in the infinite amount of time. You get the idea. What I'm trying to say has gone on way too long, but it's a good game, is what I'm getting at. So, it looks like they also touched on the Tribe series, which is a little weird. I didn't expect that. I thought that might have been the, is it Tribes Ascend that came out like 5 or 10 years? No, it was like 5 years ago. So I played it a bit, I liked it, I thought it was cool, but then they started there's certain things they added. There's like a grenade launcher that made it a massive pain in the dick to do anything, and people started getting better at the game than I was, so I kind of got tired of it, but it was a cool game. I like skiing. The mechanic of flying all over the place in that one is fun. I had Tribes 2 briefly, but I was never particularly good at it. I just played against bots, but it was quite cool. I always enjoyed Capture the Flag. But yeah, I played BioShock and BioShock Infinite. Both of them were pretty good games. I think BioShock Infinite was a much better game than BioShock was, personally. That's my perception of it, but feel free to argue your case in the other direction, because I recognize that BioShock is a good game, even though I didn't personally enjoy it that much. I always felt like BioShock Infinite was a stronger title. I don't know. When I picked it up, I didn't get it on release, but I got it pretty early on, and it ran like ass for whatever reason. I just had lots of problems with it, and I think that probably influenced my opinion of it. Try to avoid that. I'd prefer to say, hey, you know, it was a good game, it just didn't work out for me, but it just didn't feel good to play. And even BioShock Infinite, the things that made it a BioShock game, I could not have cared less about. It really made no difference to me that there was, whatever the hell it was, guys, I don't even know what it's called, but the magic I don't care. Just give me a gun. I just shot things. I think we already have golden gourds. Well, I just, the gunplay was fine. I just wanted to shoot stuff. Like, I didn't feel like there was ever a need to use the magic stuff. It didn't seem purposeful to me. So at that point, it was basically a story-based shooter, which we lack, and it's good. I'm glad we had one of those, because there aren't that many of those around anymore. But it didn't seem like there was much purpose for it to be a BioShock game. But I loved... What's her name? Your daughter. Oh, spoiler. Yeah, it's been out for a while. It's fine. I love that character. She was very cool. Very pretty, too. Liked her dress a lot. But she was a good character. It was just really nice. It was sort of like Geralt and Ciri in The Witcher 3, where you have this nice relationship where she's helping you out, and you know, you're maybe not so much with Geralt and Ciri in The Witcher, but you're kind of doing the heavy lifting, and then she's helping out. Like, I really like that she'd like throw you consumables periodically. I think that was very cool. And I like the aesthetics of it too. It was a beautiful game with a very interesting concept. I mean, that BioShock series has always been that, I think. So, it was fun. I mean, I say always, but there's really only two. There's the underwater one and the in the sky one, and that's kind of it. So, that's fine. It was a good game. So, imagine my surprise. Oh, I guess BioShock Infinite came out in 2013, and then they shut down in 2014, or restructured in 2014. Seems very strange, because they didn't Infinite do, like, incredibly well? I could have sworn they succeeded with that game, and it worked out well for them, but then they restructured, apparently, so... maybe not? Oh, that's pretty surprising. I do not understand why they would restructure if that's the case. Do I just want to make turnip shooter? And these seem way cheaper to make, but... maybe. I'll keep doing turrets for now. I'd like to make another 20 of these. And then make 8 turrets. And 20 traps, which is a waste of iron and steel. God, it sucks that it takes steel too. I feel like don't break so quickly if that's going to be it. Or at least if you break, give me all of the ingredients back. It sucks that they don't give you all the ingredients back. That's frustrating. Maybe that's something I could mod in. Probably moddable. But I have to find out the settings and stuff. Shouldn't be too bad though. Looks like we have plenty of Poyo feeds, so that's good. Let's see what our chefs are doing. Alright, I gave them a ton of stuff to work through, including additional Poyo feed. Poyo feed. I don't know why I almost said it that way. We don't have enough clay still. I'd like to have a couple hundred, ideally. So, let's get that rolling here. Do I want to come back over here and mine? I mean, it's starting to get to the point where they're traveling about as far. So I may have to start doing that. We'll see. This is fine for now. Did I go too far here? I did. It's okay. We'll expand it so that it works. There we go. Get that done. Get some more clay and hopefully some stone as well out of it. And we will continue on. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I'm still really surprised that they had that restructuring situation. Here's the Wikipedia. I mean, this is boring to read it directly, but I'll read off the Wikipedia entry addressing the restructuring. On February 18th, 2014, which is 3 years ago today, it was announced by Ken Levine via an open letter posted on the Irrational Games website that the vast majority of the studio would be laid off, with all but 15 members of the staff losing their positions. We're getting attacked here. Let's deal with that briefly. As I put my microphone back down. The reason I had to pick up my mic is because it's a monitor that's above my main 2 monitors, so I gotta read off of that. Because one's the recording preview and the other is the game. This guy's gonna get his ass kicked. We need to help him out here. I think he's fine, because they're coming now. So he might get knocked down, but he'll get back up again. They ain't never gonna keep him down. That was completely accidental, and I botched it initially. I could, if I'd gone straight into it, it would have been better, but I lacked the confidence to do it. I apologize for that. I actually bought that album, surprisingly. Kind of can't believe I did that, but for whatever reason, I really liked that song back in the day, so... What are you gonna do? Okay, let's finish this up so I can keep reading the announcement, or the summary on Wikipedia. Thank you for making him run that way, that worked out nicely. Now he's gonna get his shit slapped by our archers. Lovely. Okay, that wasn't so bad. Alright, let's go back to reading this. Let's see, where did we leave off? 2K Games hosted a career day for the remaining 75 employees to help seek employment at 57 other studios. Holy shit. Levine and the 15 remaining members of the team would be creating new, smaller games focusing on replayable narrative for the core gamers. It said that Levine's studio will continue to keep the Irrational name, although Take-Two later stated that it was not true. Through 2014 to 2015, Irrational Games continued to post several openings for jobs at the studio. Well, what'd you fire everyone then? January 2015, Levine's and the remaining staff are currently developing their first game, which will be a first-person sci-fi game. Okay, so System Shock 2 style, hopefully. As of April 2016, the studio still has a limited number of job openings posted on this website. See, I don't see why you'd fire anyone and then have openings. It seems a little silly, doesn't it? Unless unless you're firing them for unrelated reasons, but if you're shutting down, why not just keep them in the... Instead of the 15 that they hung on to, why not just keep whatever those positions were? Unless you're hiring for positions that didn't exist when you did the restructuring, but in that case it doesn't, like, why would there be positions that you didn't have filled at that point? Just very weird. I mean, I'm never going to understand what happened there, of course, unless I talk to someone involved, but it just seems weird from the outside looking in. BioShock Infinite was really successful. Why would you turn around and then fire everyone? Very strange. Maybe it wasn't as successful as I thought, or maybe it took longer to produce than I thought. Okay, so that can't be looted. It's already ours. We just haven't bought it, or we haven't moved it, or it was in the process of being moved at the time of the attack. That's why. Pop another potion here. So yeah, apparently... Oh, okay, so this explains the naming weirdness. In 2007... Rational Games was renamed to 2K Boston. Oh no, this was before the restructuring. Weird. Oh, very, very weird. This whole thing is like, they're saying like after the original BioShock was released, there's rumors that many of the staff who worked on the game were leaving 2K. Which is even more weird, because like, why? Okay, every time they make a BioShock, their staff leaves. Like, what the hell's going on? That's... just strange. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff going on that I just don't understand. It's completely normal, but from the outside looking in, it just seems weird. Yeah, really freaking weird. Oh, apparently they did preliminary work for XCOM, the Bureau Declassified, that was a pretty fun game. I actually played that. It was a kind of a basic shooter, but it was interesting. I thought it was cool. The story was kind of funny, or not really. Well. It was interesting, let's put it that way. What is going on up here? Is this... Oh, it's lootable. What the hell happened? Was there a fight up here? I don't remember sending anyone up. Very strange. Must have been old. Yeah, I wish I understood what happened, because it seems like an interesting situation, I guess, but it's just like something clearly went down. And I don't know if it's just like normal business stuff, or it's like someone was a dick and they needed to figure out where to go from there. Hard to tell. Not that I'm trying to suggest that there was drama involved, I have no idea. And it's easy, like you say, oh, there was drama, to make it a more interesting news story, we'll talk about the drama. But no, I genuinely have no fucking clue. It just seems weird that you'd release a popular game and then, like, get rid of people. Right? I mean, am I wrong? Okay, we're getting another invasion here. We'll deal with it quickly. Please follow orders. They are, but nope, they're not following orders. Fuck. Alright, well, at least the wolf is going to them. So that's good. There's more coming though, right? There has to be more coming. No? Alright then. There's just a single wolf out of nowhere. Good for me, because now that'll give us time to finish the mining, which theoretically was what was stopping our military from following orders. But who knows why they were doing it. That's just a guess. Probably a good guess, but it is still just a guess. So, that's fine. Still definitely having trouble wrapping my head around this. It's unfortunate too, because, I mean, System Shock 2 was... It'd be nice if you saw, like, a game like that comes out. It'd be preferable to see that studio become, like, a mainstay. Keep that talent, keep the story writing ability from that studio. And it seemed, you know, they didn't make System Shock, so I don't really know the history there. Maybe it's another studio that did that, and Irrational bought the rights or something. I don't really understand. But it's too bad. You'd like to see a series like that go the way of maybe Deus Ex and get continued releases. It'd be nice to have another competing title along the lines of Deus Ex where you have some nice story-driven, a little bit of combat, but more like kind of first-person RPG kind of situation. It's a cool genre, and there aren't that many of them, I think. You can kind of say Dishonored is in there, but I think you could say Dishonored is a little bit different. Obviously, it's a little bit different, but I mean, it's not quite the same kind of gameplay, I would say. I would be looking more for Deus Ex kind of style stuff, where you have like a really... what's the difference? Shit. Is this gonna be how I convince myself to play Dishonored finally? Say it's medieval Deus Ex. I'm gonna say I want a game like this and I just described Dishonored and now I'm gonna have to go play it because otherwise I'm a hypocrite. That might be what we're doing here. I hope it's not, but we might be getting to that. That might be the conclusion that I'm approaching here. Thinking about promoting. Yeah, you know what? You can be a trapper. Get another trapper. We only had one trapper, right? Yeah, we only had one trapper. Yeah, I think having another one is good. Looking at how that works in the Riot's Children playthrough makes it seem like a good decision here. I want to do more. Yeah, let's do another 10. Use up those herbs. We're starting to run low. We'll need to place more over here. So it's good that we're using them though. I like these. I don't know if it's actually really helping, but I like the idea that it is helping. Cactus flower is not necessary. We're fine. But yeah, it would have been nice to see a few more competitors in that field, I guess. I understand why there aren't. I feel like it's maybe slightly less popular kind of game, and unfortunately that means that there's less of them, but it's too bad that we can't have more of those instead of fucking annual Madden games and shit like that. And don't get me wrong, I understand the appeal of those games. I would like to play NHL games. I just wish they weren't always $60 forever. And I'd love to play... Actually, I'd like to play some baseball title. I don't know which one. I kind of have to look at it. But some of the baseball ones, it might be cool to play. Maybe, honestly, to be completely honest, I would not mind having a Madden game. I might actually get into football if I had one. I would probably never spend the money myself to get it, but I definitely see the appeal, and the Madden games I played in the past seem fun, honestly. I don't think watching football is fun. It seems stupid, but playing it seems interesting from the perspective of strategy and all that. And finally, basketball actually seems pretty interesting too, and you know, it's kind of just something I'm being exposed to these days because the local team is winning, so of course everyone's into it now. But it seems like an interesting sport. I like that it's kind of... It's not really about scoring, it's more about when you miss. Like, that's really the more impactful thing, because you miss less often than you score, it seems like, so... Turnovers and missed shots seem to be more what dictate who wins the game rather than who hits their shots. Like Steph Curry, the local guy, it seems like, yeah, everyone say, oh, he makes more three-pointers than anyone, but it's not really that he's making three-pointers, it's that he has that accuracy to consistently hit those shots, which, you know, for every 3 that he hits more than another player, that's, you know, 9 more points that his team goes up by, relative to another player on the other team who maybe misses those shots and as a result doesn't have that. Anyway, I don't want to get too far into it, but it just seems interesting that it's kind of a different approach. And I think from a game design standpoint, that's maybe an interesting point to consider, is like, take a mechanic and turn it on its head and see what it looks like backwards. And say, you know, it's not, oh, how many times can you score? It's, you're expected to score. Who is going to fuck up less times? Whoever fucks up less wins. That's interesting. And I think it makes for a slightly different game that's kind of a way to refresh an older genre, perhaps. So, something to consider. Anyway, while we finish off this little fight here, that is going to do it for today's episode. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join us for the next one as well. Take care.